What's good, YouTube? Steam Rocket. It's been a little while. I haven't really been playing, but I did want to give you guys this deck profile. This isn't anything new, but hopefully you'll see a couple tech choices or ratios in here that you might like better than what you've been seeing around. I don't have the Medolce stuff, so this is the other best deck of the format right now. This is the hand traps deck. The plays the hand engine with Traptrix. Left out the artifacts because I don't feel like you need it to make the deck good. That deck is more explosive, has a few more options to it, but I feel like you can draw more brick hands in that deck. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm playing here, and comment below if you guys have any suggestions or comments on the deck. So here we go. So you have the 3 ice hand and 3 fire hand. I actually almost considered dropping Ice Hand to 2 because you almost always want to start with the Fire Hand, especially if you're going first, because you can't, if you set Ice Hand first turn and they just summon a monster and run it over, you've lost your setup there. But if you can set up Fire Hand and they'll have to summon a monster and beat over it, and then you get your hand loop started there. So the 6 is pretty good. I thought about making it 5, but I mean they're just too good to leave any of them out. Then for the Traptrix, you have the 3 Traptrix Stratos. I mean, obviously, this is the whole reason the deck is anything. This card's too good. And then I played 2 Traptrix Debris Dragon. The other effect on this one's all right. If you played 3 of them, it would matter more. Primarily, you just want to get the Mermelio just to destroy some things and make those rank 4 plays easy. Play the 1 Thunder King. I mean, it's the best standalone monster right now. Grand Mole. Decks like Raccoons and Yugioh are still a thing. You gotta move those armors out of the way, or get the Exceeds off the field. Especially like even Evil Swarm. This can help you get Ophion off the board. This deck obviously isn't as affected by Ophion's effective stopping the special summoning, but just having that big monster on the field can become a problem sometimes. So to be able to get those things off the board with Grand Mole is good. 2 Max C's. I mean, just people special summon, so Max C gets you to your cards faster. I think that's 15 monsters, something like that. 3 Upstart Goblin. I have the Upstarts in here, not because of I want to make my deck like Patrick Hoban's deck. It's just, I mean, in building this, there wasn't 3 more cards I wanted to add in here. To be honest, like, I would rather not play these either, but you have to make your deck 40 cards, so this is more of a deck building tool to make my deck 40 cards than it is to make my deck thinner. But obviously, it's effectively the same thing, just 2 sides of the same coin, but that's why the Upstarts are in there. 3 Duality. These get clunky sometimes. I've thought about cutting this to 2, but then again, it's the same problem you have. You mean, you have to play 40 cards, so that's how you get to the 40. Pot of Dichotomy. This is pretty good. I would consider playing 2, except I draw the thing in my opening hand all the time. So some people are playing 2 of these, and then some people are also playing 2 Soul Charge. I'm playing 1 of each because I would draw 2 of them in my opening hand, or I draw both of these in my opening hand if I played more than 1 of each. So instead of playing 2 of one or 2 of the other, I tried to, split the difference and do it this way. So, then Dark Hole and Book of Moon. I mean, these are going to be in every deck ever. I did cut an MST down just because dragons don't really run that many back row, and artifacts are a thing. So I think 2 gets in there just fine. You almost want to leave your opponent's spells and traps on the board so that you can use Mermelio and Ice Hand to blow them up. So just the 2 for the spot removal when you need it. I mean, you can't just leave them out altogether because, Decree and Skill Drain and things like that are cards. I mean, you have to have them in there, but, onto the traps. The 2 best traps of the format right now, I think, are the breakthrough skills and the wiretaps. Wiretap is so good because breakthrough skill is so good. If you can wiretap their breakthrough skill, you set your opponent back so much. I mean, The reason they wanted the breakthrough skill is because you can use it twice, and with artifacts and stuff running around, it's really effective using it the second time. But Wiretap just shuffles it back. And then Wiretap is sort of the self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, if everybody's playing Wiretap, you should play Wiretap, because you can negate their Wiretaps with yours. It's starting to remind me of the format, if any of you guys remember it, when we had Solemn Judgment at 3 and Dark Bribe at 3, and it was just, you would have one real trap card, and then you'd have 4 either Dark Bribes or Solemn Judgments, and your opponent would have the same thing. So it's like whoever had the last counter trap won the game, because you've paid half your life points a bunch, and somebody's drawn a bunch of cards. It was ridiculous. But it's starting to get like that with the Wiretaps. 2 D prisons. You have to play D prison because the hands are a thing. Also, when somebody finds out you're playing this deck and they know what you're doing, they're going to make Stardust as soon as possible. And so you have to have outs. That's another reason the Grand Mal's in here, because Stardust is a bitch. So D prison is good. The 1 Mirror Force, it is so bad in the mirror match. Like, it is awful in the mirror match. But I mean, you have to have a Mirror Force because you got to punish those bad players. 2 Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare and a Bottomless. I was playing a Trap Hole, but same theory with the Mirror Force. It is so bad in the mirror match. Like, it is terrible. It's also bad against dragons. But so I just played the 3. I understand that, you know, I don't have enough here if I draw 1 and then get all 3 Remelio searches off. But if I'm that far into my deck, I'm pretty confident that I'm winning at that point anyway. And since I'm not running Atrax, I don't really need to have a bunch of them in my hand to be able to activate with its effect or anything like that. The Compulse, again, problem monsters. You got to get them off the board. A Torrential and a Warning. Yeah, I mean, nothing to be said for those. Main deck's 40 cards, like I said. Onto the side deck. The Skullmeisters. This seems pretty good. It's working its way towards a main deck spot. In addition to the 3 debunk, because I mean, you gotta win the mirror match. You're gonna see it often. Debunk's also really good against Boojins, Dragons. Skullmeister's pretty good against Boojins also. I mean, they're just good cards, and being able to do stuff in the damage step to the hands is amazing. The other thing about the Skullmeisters is they're not vulnerable to the Wiretaps. If somebody knows, I mean, if somebody's playing this deck, they're probably playing Wiretaps, so your debunk are vulnerable to that. These are not, so it's kind of an interesting dynamic there. The 1 Cycle Reader, I had an extra spot, and this is too good against Boojin. Fossil Dyna, I mean, this just beats some decks. It's too good of a stun monster against those decks that need to special summon. Swords of Concealing Light is still in here because I don't know how to beat Noble Knights without it. I mean, you have to have these against that deck. I don't know what else to do. So I'm going to keep playing these until Noble Knights go away. Cross out for Yugioh, Raccoons, Other Hands, Gravekeepers. Just a good card. Mind Control for other decks that play rank 4s. You can just, you know, take their stuff, exceed with it. Yeah, Mind Control's good. The 3rd MST, because if it's not in the main, it better be in the side. It's obviously a good card. Then the other 2 Trap Holes, Deep Dark Trap Hole for Dragons and decks that play Soul Charge. The Trap Hole for Fire Fist, anything that's going to normal summon. Yeah, that's pretty much it for those. So for the extra deck, I don't have an Exciton Knight and a 101. I know, I'm like a poor player. But I do want to talk about a couple things. The first one being Rhapsody the Berserker, or Rhapsody in Berserk. This card is very, very good against Dragons and Boojins, but you have to be careful when you're using it against those decks. Just because you can banish 2 doesn't mean you always should just make this and banish 2 of their cards. Because in Boojins, you don't want to set them up for the Boojin Carnation. In Dragons, you don't want to give them free searches for nothing. But if you can, you know, cripple their setup, that's a really good card. Ragna Zero. This, I mean, I basically ignored Madolches in the main deck because you can just make this against that deck and just win. You don't have to do anything else to beat them. You make this against, I mean, anything that has an attack boost, it's too good. Even decks that play Lance against you, you know, you're making it so they can't play the Lance, because if they Lance their monster to save it from one of your traps, you just blow it up with this, draw a card. This is extremely good. It should have been more than a rare. What else? Obviously, this guy wins games. Cowboy wins more games. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but when you make this and it has an ice hand attached to it, your other ice hands are 1900, which is, I mean, that's cool. And Dweller's a good card all on its own, obviously. And then it's just a black ship, good in the mirror match. Get those hands off the board. If you run into a Yugioh armor, you know, main phase 2, make this. Try to, I don't know. I guess you can't do that, but you gotta get rid of that Yugioh armor somehow. I guess the way to get rid of the Yugioh armor is with Diamond Dyer, or force it to flip and then run it over. These are kind of stapley. Vixen, you'll probably never make this, but it's in here because I have space. Crazy Box for Skill Drain. This for decks that put a bunch of monsters on the board and you can shrink them all down and run them over. This seems interesting. I have to look up the rulings on this. I don't know if you can redirect like a D-Prison or not, like what an appropriate target means. But this card seems good, especially to redirect. You know, if they have an ice hand and they target a back row that you want to keep, you can, you know, move it to something else. So that guy, Maestro against Staple. I'm gonna try this out too. Seems pretty good that you can run something over and just shuffle it back into their deck instead of letting it go to the graveyard. There's some searchers going around, obviously the hands. So I'm gonna give that a try as well. And once again, I mean, because I don't have a 101 or a Exciton Knight, obviously, I mean, some of these cards are bad and they would come out. This is probably on the block. That's on the block. This is interesting, but it could be cut. But you guys get the idea. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'm going to be playing this tomorrow. If anything comes up that I think is noteworthy, I will get back on here and tell you guys about it. All right, thanks for watching.